Hi everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing the Boba Book. The Boba Book is a boba beverage cookbook written by the founders of the Boba Guys, namely Chau and Bin Chen. This is really a beautiful book because not only are the pictures very pretty, but the recipes are also really good. I've tried at least 2 recipes in this book so far and they all came out really well. And I was really impressed because usually with cookbooks that have really beautiful pictures, the recipes don't really match up to the hype of the pictures. So this is a really pretty book. There are actually even watermarks of boba pearls on the cover. I don't know if you could see it. So it's got a smooth, matte cover, and even the texture of the drink is different than the texture of the rest of the cover. So overall, it's a beautiful coffee table book, and it's also a really useful book because you'll learn how to make a lot of these boba beverages and other types of gourmet beverages you would find at a boba shop or a high-end coffee drink store at home. And it's a lot easier to make it at home because you'll be able to use less sugar and make healthier versions of what you would otherwise buy, and you'll also save a lot of money in the long run. Because each cup of these types of beverages run around $6, maybe $7 after tax, and it's only a few cents to make at home. So it's definitely a skill worth picking up, making these types of gourmet beverages. So I'm going to go through all the main parts of the book today, and if you have any questions, let me know. I actually know quite a bit about making cafe beverages. I used to be a barista myself, and I have a lot of the equipment and materials, different herbs, different teas, so I'm pretty knowledgeable about the topic myself. But I thought I'd get this book just to brush up on my knowledge and to make my beverage making skills a little bit more advanced. So I'm going to show you different parts of the book, and at the end, if you have any questions, just leave comments. If you can't buy the book for whatever reason, or you are not sure if you want to buy the book and you want to know how to make some of the recipes in here, let me know and I'll try to make a video of it, or I can share the recipes with you. And I can just maybe email it to you or post it somewhere below this video. So let's get started. I'm just going to make sure that the image is adjusted properly as I open the book. There we go. Great. So just want to make sure you guys could see both pages really well. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. Boba Guys is a boba shop based out in San Francisco, and they recently opened locations in New York. These are the 2 founders, Chau and Bin Chen. One thing to know about books written by founders of restaurants is that a big part of the purpose of the book is marketing material for their restaurant, or in this case their boba cafe. So if you're not interested in learning more about that, you could probably skip like a lot of what's in the beginning or towards the end. It talks more about their story. So maybe you are interested in their story, or maybe you're just interested in getting this book so you can learn how to make really fancy gourmet beverages at home. There is a table of contents in here. It's broken out into 5 parts. It's broken out into the history of boba and boba beverages in general. Then they show you recipes on how to make traditional boba beverage drinks, specialty drinks, which are a little bit more experimental, and then boozy drinks. They don't always necessarily involve boba, but just gourmet drinks in general. So I think this book is not just about making milk tea beverages for boba, but also just gourmet drinks in general. And then they also have a nice section for add-ons and toppings. I know a lot of people like to go to get boba drinks and add other things to their drink besides the boba, the tapioca pearls. Like people like to add matcha pudding, egg pudding, maybe even strawberry jelly and things like that. So they also have a good, nice section that covers that. So if you're new to making boba beverages, There, you might want to sort of verse yourself in the different types of kind of equipment and materials you need to buy, and they do have a really nice section for that, and I'm gonna go to that section right now. There we go, tools of the trade. So as you can see, they do suggest you buy a lot of different things for making all the different beverages in this book. You don't have to buy everything here, you just have to buy whatever you need for the beverage you want to make. Personally, I have the ice tray, I have a citrus reamer, but I have the wooden one. It's a lot easier to use than these plastic ones, and I'll post a link to that on this video as well. I don't really use a cocktail shaker, I just stir it with like a chopstick. This is really popular. This is a matcha whisk. This, I feel like, is only necessary if you're making hot matcha. If you want to make an iced matcha latte, my recommendation is to skip this altogether and just add the milk and the matcha powder into a blender, and you'll get matcha latte within seconds. You don't even need to like use this whisk and, you know, try twisting your wrist while you're making the matcha. It seems like too much work for me. So I personally don't even use this because I only make iced matcha lattes. And these are some other cocktail making equipment. They just have this section here because some of the recipes involve alcoholic drinks. So I'm going to show you some of the key parts of this book to help you decide if this is a book you want to get or not. And also, so you can provide me with some feedback if you want some videos, to see some videos on how to make some of these drinks. I would say like my level of making gourmet beverages is pretty advanced. I've been doing it for quite a while. Like I make my own almond milk, my own cashew milk, my own golden milk with the almond milk. So I know quite a bit about beverage making. And like I said, I also used to work as a barista in a cafe. So yeah, so the first part of the book is really an intro to who the Boba Guys are. I think this is like their shop in the Mission District in San Francisco. There's more pictures of them. That looks like they're in Japan. Boba 101. Boba actually started in Taiwan. So these are actually pictures of beverages you would see at a cafe in Taiwan. Taiwan is located in a very tropical area. It's very hot, so there's a lot of people like to drink all different sorts of iced beverages that are fruit-based. So this is like a strawberry milkshake, papaya milkshake. There's also, you know, anything that you can make and blend with anything you can make and blend with tropical fruits, milk, and ice. You can probably find that as a beverage. And these are the prices in Taiwanese dollars. It's 30 Taiwanese dollars to $1 US. So a drink like this in Taiwan only goes for about like $1.50, which is really cheap compared to these same drinks that would otherwise cost $7 here. Boba is basically tapioca pearls. I remember in Taiwan there was some controversy about people like potentially choking on these tapioca pearls as they're sipping it up from the straw. So I would not give these kinds of drinks to very young children for that reason. There have been documented cases of people actually choking on the tapioca pearls as they're drinking bubble tea in Taiwan. And so I've been very careful about drinking boba tea ever since I've learned about those kinds of incidences that have happened. But it's really delicious otherwise. If you want to keep it safe, just drink it without the straw. Just drink it right out of the cup with a spoon. This is like pictures of boba tea being served more in like a high-end establishment in Asia versus just like a cafe setting. Lots of palm trees and mountains in Taiwan. Yeah, so these are some of the main kinds of beverages you'll see at a boba shop. So the beverage that you're generally familiar with is tapioca pearl boba in milk tea. But there's also different types of milk teas because different milk teas are made with different types of teas. And as you'll see later, you can get milk tea made with like oolong tea, pu'er tea, green tea, white tea, black tea, and they all give you a different taste. My personal favorite is oolong black tea, which is a little bit hard to find. One thing to know about beverages that you get at boba shops is that there's a difference between milk teas and tea lattes, and they kind of explain it here, although I don't necessarily agree with the explanation. So, trade secret here, some boba places have milk tea and lattes. Milk teas are generally not made with dairy. They're generally made with like non-dairy creamer, like Carnation non-dairy creamer. So I try to stay away from that because it's more synthetic. I usually go for the lattes because the lattes are actually made with real milk. I don't really like the milk they use at boba shops. It's not generally organic, and it's generally like the lactose-free kind, which I don't really like. So that's why I make it at home. So always make sure to get the lattes instead of the milk teas, because if you want real milk versus like non-dairy creamer. But if you're like allergic to dairy, then milk teas is a great option. They also serve traditional teas and fruit teas. Fruit teas are basically marmalades or jams that has been mixed with water and ice. And it gives it it's like a really healthy, nice fruity beverage. And then this is pretty new, but like some of the boba beverages now have cheese. Like there's a layer of what they call cheese on top. It's basically whipped cream with condensed milk and some salt. I'm not a big fan of it, but a lot of people seem to like it. So there are recipes in here that show you how to make that as well. In the book, they include a recipe for their classic milk tea. So milk tea is basically tea, milk, sugar, and the tapioca balls with the ice. I don't really like getting milk tea outside because it's a ton of sugar, so that's why I always recommend making it at home. And you can use half and half instead of regular milk for a more creamy taste. And there's also a section in here where they go through the tea blend that they use. So the Boba Guys use a blend of Assam, Ceylon, and Yunnan black tea leaves. And you can definitely experiment on your own as well. I personally like green tea and oolong tea within my milk teas. Syrup, as you can see, boba syrup is basically almost half sugar and half water. So think about how much sugar you're consuming if you're buying milk tea outside. It's a brief history of tea. So tea is made possible from people trading teas and cultivating teas, and the sugar trade in Asia is what also makes it possible, because these milk teas are very sweet. These are the different types of teas that are used for making bubble tea. So like I said, it's not just black milk tea. You can also get green tea, milk tea, oolong tea, milk tea. I really like green tea jasmine. Green tea milk tea with jasmine. Some more marketing material from the Boba Guys. Alright, so let's get into the meat of this, which is all the interesting recipes that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm not going to go through every single recipe, but I'll just go through some of them that I think are interesting, and let me know if you want the actual recipe to this. Iced matcha lattes are really popular. Like I said, I never actually do this. This is really time consuming. You can just blend the milk with the matcha powder and some maple syrup instead of sugar syrup in a blender, and you'll get iced matcha latte in seconds. So a lot of times with these cookbooks, the chefs will show you the harder way of making things, not the easier way of making things, just because it's kind of sort of in their interest to do so. There's also Hong Kong milk tea. So there's different variations of milk tea. I like mine with milk, or sometimes with half and half instead. But in other countries outside of Taiwan, they like to use condensed milk or evaporated milk. I'm not as big of a fan of that because those things come out of a can, and condensed milk is chock full of sugar. Teh tarik is the Singaporean Malaysian version of teas, or milk teas, shall I say. Thai iced tea is also one of my favorites. Really nice to make at home, so you don't get that artificial orange coloring. The orange coloring is actually artificial coloring, for those of you that don't know. Thai tea blend is basically a mix of black tea with other herbs like star anise, cardamom, cinnamon, and vanilla. Turmeric latte, this is really popular right now, not in Asia, but more in America. I just take like almond and I blend it with fresh turmeric, but they have a recipe here that you can follow for that. Chai latte, that's also very popular. Here they recommend you make chai latte with like whole herbs, like the whole cardamom, black pepper, cloves. But I find that the easiest way to make chai latte is to add all these herbs to the tea in powdered form. So you'll get, like if you use powdered cardamom, powdered black peppercorn, powdered cinnamon, powdered cloves instead of whole ones to make your tea, it'll actually give it a stronger flavor and it's actually a lot faster to make. So there are a lot of great recipes in here. I don't personally agree with the methodology that's being shown because I feel like there's shortcuts to a lot of these kind of recipes. And if you have questions about shortcuts on how to make some of these, also let me know. But there are so many good recipes in this book. You'll definitely advance your game in making gourmet beverages. This is mango lassi, very popular in Indian restaurants. I actually tried this and it was really good. This is actually made with mango, milk, and yogurt and cardamom, and I also add a little bit of vanilla in there. It says to use kefir or drinkable milk. Ignore that. You can use regular yogurt, and yeah, it's a mix of whole milk and yogurt to make it that liquid consistency. But I highly recommend this one. So a lot of times in these books, you'll see like there's a whole different section for purees. Like if you want to make a beverage to drink immediately, you don't have to make the puree separately to make the drink. Like you can just put all the ingredients in the puree with all the ingredients of the drink together and blend it in the blender. Like you don't have to blend the puree first and then mix it with the liquids. You can just put everything in the blender and make it at once. The only reason why you would make up purees in advance or make purees separately is if, you run a bubble tea shop and you want to have puree handy at all times. But if you're just making a beverage for yourself and your family, you don't have to make the puree separately. Just take all the ingredients in the puree and then blend it in a blender with all the ingredients of the drink. So just some shortcuts there. Horchata, not sure what this is. I'm going to skip it. Pog, I think that's just passion fruit and orange juice. Vietnamese iced coffee, I like it, but only once in a blue moon because it's condensed milk, right? And there's a whole ton of sugar in there. Vietnamese egg soda. So this is basically an egg yolk blended with condensed milk for that bottom creamy part, and then they put soda on top. And then the second variation is the same thing, except they're putting coffee. I've never tried it. I don't know if I would want raw eggs in my drink, or maybe it could be good. Pandan. This is more of a Southeast Asian drink. It's like a Southeast Asian herb. You can't find actual pandan leaves here, but you can find the extract in your Asian supermarket. It's also another Southeast Asian drink. As you can see, all these pictures are just beautiful. And the recipes are equally as creative too. Chrysanthemum tea is very popular in Asia. Not sure where they add lemongrass. I don't know if lemongrass would add anything to chrysanthemum teas. They taste just as good as is with sugar. And you can use rock sugar too, which is a very popular thing to do in Asia. Halo halo is a Filipino dessert with different layers. There's a layer of purple sweet potato puree, ice, boba, egg pudding. I think this is pandan pudding and some more ice. There's also recipes for that in this book as well. Red bean latte. I don't know if I want to drink where I'm drinking milk with pureed red beans. Red bean is generally better with like pastries. So I don't know if I would make that one. Avocado smoothie is also very popular in Southeast Asia. It's basically a blend of avocado with like lime juice and milk and sweetened condensed milk. I've never actually tried it, but I would definitely love to try it with some chocolate syrup, which they do a lot. It's like really popular in Indonesia. iced sweet potato latte. So this is made with the orange sweet potato. This